What's up, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, I want to talk about what I think is one of the best lease deals in the country. Now, the lease deal that I want to go over in detail in this video is on the 2024 BMW iX all-electric SUV. So if you're on the market for a full-size luxury SUV, I personally think that this is the best lease deal on a full-size luxury SUV that's all electric. So we'll actually go to BMW's website and then we'll cover this lease deal in detail. And along the way, I'll give you some very helpful leasing tips and tricks. And towards the end of this video, I'll explain why I think this lease deal is an exceptional value. So if that sounds good to you, please be sure to like this video and please be sure to follow or subscribe to this channel. So right here, right now, you can lease a 2024 iX xDrive50 for $799 a month. There is a $4,715 down payment. There is no security deposit required, as you can see here, and there is a $925 acquisition fee, which you'll need to pay at the time of lease signing. But let's talk about this lease deal in more detail. So it's a total of $6,439 due at signing when you add up all of these amounts. So now let's actually click on See More to read the fine print, because that's where all of the good stuff is. Now, if we read the fine print, you'll see that this lease deal is available through January 31st, 2024. Now, as I said earlier, this is a 36-month lease. And check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This car has an MSRP of $90,595. Now, it does say that actual MSRP and dealer contribution may vary and it could affect your monthly lease payment. And I think they just put that language in there to protect the dealers, because I think some of these cars may be marked up, maybe not the iX, but I think in general, some BMWs, maybe an M3 or M5s, certain models are marked up above MSRP. So I think they put this language in there to protect those dealers so that they can actually, create their own prices. And you'll see here that this is a 30,000 mile lease. Now, I get a lot of people that say, hey, Ravi, 30,000 miles just isn't enough for me. I drive, at least 12,000 miles or 15,000 miles a year. So 10,000 miles a year just isn't going to be enough. Well, the thing that you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you want a 12,000 mile a year lease or a 15,000 mile a year lease, you can do it. You can get a 12,000 mile a year lease or a 15,000 mile a year lease. Now, your monthly payment is going to go up a little bit. I think if you go from 10 to 12 on a car like this, I would think the monthly payment might go up, 20 bucks a month. If you go to 15,000 miles a year, maybe the monthly payment goes up to like $40 or $50 a month if you go from 10 to 15,000 miles. But usually, in almost all cases, paying for that lease mileage up front is cheaper than paying the 30 cents a mile penalty for each mile that you go over 30,000 miles, as you can see here. So a lot of people just, I don't want to say blindly, but a lot of people don't know that you can actually negotiate your mileage up front. They just get a 10,000 mile a year lease, even though they know they're going to drive maybe 12,000 miles, and then they end up paying this 30 cent a mile penalty. And you don't really want to do that, because it just doesn't make sense from a financial standpoint. If you know you're going to drive 12 or 15,000 miles, just get that mileage up front and avoid paying this fee at all costs. Now, another thing to know about this lease, and one thing that I really like, is that this lease does have a purchase option, and the price at the lease end is going to be $48,015. So, ladies and gentlemen, that means that if I were to lease this car today, and let's say 35 months from now, I wanted to buy this car, let's just say I really, really loved it, I just pay the $48,015 plus tax, and the car is mine. So a lot of people have this misconception that when you lease a car, you're like renting a car. It's the same thing, but not if the lease has a buyout option or a purchase option at the end of the lease. Now, when you lease a car like Tesla or Teslas that don't have a purchase option at the end of the lease term, yes, that is kind of like renting the car or renting the Tesla. But as you can see here with BMW leases, and this BMW iX lease in particular, you do have the option to purchase the car at the end of the lease term. And the reason this is important is because if you have any equity in your lease at the end of the lease term, you're able to realize that equity or actually pocket that money instead of the dealership or the manufacturer realizing that equity and, getting the benefit of that profit. So as you can see, you have the option to purchase this car for $48,015 at the end of the lease term. So if by month 35 of me having this lease, if I know this car is worth, $52,000 $52,000, $53,000, $54,000, I can take that $5,000 or $6,000 in equity and actually roll it maybe into my next lease as a down payment. I could buy this car, maybe turn around and sell it, or I could buy this car, maybe drive it for another year and then sell it. In some scenarios, people, maybe I got a 15,000 mile a year lease, but I only ended up driving the car maybe 20 or 30,000 miles over 3 years. So in that case, I might have some equity. Long story short, whatever the circumstances are, having a lease that has a purchase option is always a great way to lease a car, because you never know, the market dynamics can change and you have equity in your lease. So it's just nice to have this option. And if you don't have equity in the lease, let's just say this car is worth $40,000 at the end of the lease term. Well, that's $8,000 in negative equity that you probably would have had if you were to buy the car. And now since you leased it, you can just simply return the car back, and that $8,000 is now on the dealer or the manufacturer to kind of eat that $8,000 instead of you having to eat that $8,000. So I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. Now in this section of the video, I want to talk about the value that this lease offers. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the 1.25% rule, and that's a rule that I use, that anytime the monthly payment with $0 down is less than 1.25% of the MSRP, that's a great lease deal in my book. Now, some people will say 1.5% or less, and yes, that's also, that's a good deal, not a great deal. 1.25% and under is a great deal. There are some 1% and under lease deals that are, starting to come out. The Jeep Wrangler 4xe, the Subaru Solterra. And if you get a 1% or under lease deal, that's just an incredible value. So let's actually go down and let's go back to the screen and let's break down the value that this lease offers. So in order to do this, I'm going to take the $4,715, which is the down payment that you can see here. I'm going to leave out the first month's payment because I'm going to divide this by 36. So I want the full 36 months or 36 payments. So I'm going to leave this number out. Now I have the $4,715 down payment. I'm going to add the $925 acquisition fee to this number. And then I'm going to divide it by 36 since it's a 36-month lease. And then I get $156.66. Now, if I add the $799 a month payment that this car has, I get a monthly payment of $955 a month and 66 cents. And this does not include sales tax, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm going to do is, since I live in the city of Seattle, we have roughly a 10% sales tax. So I'm going to multiply this number by 1.1 to account for 10% sales tax. And that's going to give me a monthly payment with $0 down, assuming you roll in the down payment and the acquisition fee into your lease payments. So your monthly payment with $0 down would be $1,051.23. Now what I'm going to do is take this number and divide it by the MSRP. And we know from reading the fine print that the MSRP on this car is $90,595. And when I do that, I get 1.16%. So ladies and gentlemen, this car is a 1.16% lease deal. And this is, as stated on the BMW website. This is not negotiating the selling price. If you can get a dealer to give you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 off of the selling price, that will even sweeten this deal even more. So without any negotiation, you got a 1.16% lease deal. You got a monthly payment of a little over $1,000 on a car with a $90,000 MSRP. And that, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, is why I think the 2024 BMW iX is a great car or great electric vehicle to lease right now. And you know what? I didn't even factor in the gas savings, because if you were to get a 10 or 12,000 mile a year lease on this car, and if you charge at home on a level 2 charger, you're easily saving $150 to $200 a month if you were to drive an equivalent internal combustion engine car that has 400 to 500 horsepower, takes 92 octane. So that's some additional savings, no oil changes. So those are other things that you could factor into this lease deal, but I choose not to. But yeah, that's why I think this is a tremendous lease deal, and I think it's a great value. So if you guys are looking for any financial coaching or lease coaching and want to have help, find a lease deal like this, let me know in the comment section below, or visit my stand store. I'll leave the link below as well. And if you have any other questions or comments, please type them below and I will get back to you. Thank you all for watching. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.